3.
Turn it up.
All right, Austin McWater's back with Let's Be Honest Sports with my colleague, Colin Shada.
We're back.
We're back in here. We're going to go over this week's championship games, conference championships for college football. Got a lot of big games that'll mean a lot for the last playoff ranking, which is Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, I believe. I think it's 12 Central. And then my record this past week, college football, was 6-6. Not so good, but NFL still steady, 6-2 for this past week's game. So I'm pretty good on NFL anyway.
Yep. Sorry if I sound a little off. My nose is a little stopped up. I'm just getting over a sickness, but I'm here. That's what counts. For NCAA last week, my record was 5-6. Remember, I didn't bet on that Iowa State and Kansas State game. Not bet. I didn't pick on that game.
I picked the under and it hit under.
Did it? Yeah. NFL went 4-4. I had a lot of trouble with the over/under picks this week, so I didn't do a lot of that this week because it was hurting me. So,
I think that's where I hit the most on was over/under.
See, I was opposite. But overall, I calculated our overall. You are at 81-47 at 63.3%. I'm at 74-48 at 60.70% for the year.
Ha!
So, on to
the playoff rankings came out last night.
you want to do a recap then?
You can.
I'll have to.
I thought the Iron Bowl was surprising and not at the same time. I picked Auburn plus 3.5.
I guess
and they won.
that was really the only big game.
Yeah.
Or I guess big game with like a upset. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really know.
they had Wisconsin at Minnesota, but Minnesota just fucking outclassed them.
Yeah, Minnesota did not look good. Actually, it was kind of like I thought. It did start snowing at one point.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Taylor just ran it down the throat, pretty much.
And then Ohio State just told Michigan, "You just keep staying where you are, little buddy."
Yeah.
It was close early, and then Ohio State was just chipping away, and plus Michigan threw several interceptions. There was 2, I think, in their own territory or in Ohio State territory that costed them points. So that's 14 points right there.
And one of them could have been a game changer too. I'm pretty sure it was like Ohio State was only up by 7 points, and Shea Patterson did like a red zone or something. Yeah,
just trying to force the ball. They didn't really need to.
Yeah,
but I mean, what do you expect? Harbaugh won't be able to beat them. I don't think.
Not until Ohio State's coachless.
Yeah, I mean they're 9. Michigan's 9-3 now. I think that's as good as they're gonna get. But playoff rankings, I don't really have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Except for fucking Cowboys. Wow, that was embarrassing. If you're a Cowboys fan, it's pretty bad.
Oh, you're talking about NFL?
Yeah, NFL.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
the Cowboys is in shambles right now. As long as Jason Garrett's there, we got to erase them off the board of anything. And then the damn Ravens, if they don't win the Super Bowl, I'll be surprised. They're just too complete.
I mean, San Francisco did give them a good game. I mean, it went down to the wire, but I don't think. I mean, I just don't think that any team's really going to be able to hang through a whole game.
No.
Like San Francisco, I think had the best opportunity with that defense.
Right.
And I mean,
then Patriots, they just need a receiver.
Yeah, they have no offense right now because they just have no help besides Brady. I don't think they really ever had a huge run game. So
that defense is the reason why they have 10 wins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm not surprised. And then playoff rankings. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I actually was surprised that Alabama dropped all the way to 12.
I was too.
I mean, yeah, they're out without Tua, but it was kind of a embarrassing loss. Not really embarrassing, but they had a lot of shit go sideways in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then for them to do that, the committee to do them like that, kind of not good for Alabama fans.
Yeah, what they dropped to 12?
12 from 5.
You dropped from 7 spots.
I think that was the second highest drop in the playoff era because Minnesota was the last one, was the number 1. They dropped 9 spots, and that was this year.
So what was it? Was so one was. Let's just kind of go through. I guess 2 Alabama at least.
All right, so you had
Ohio State.
1 Ohio State, 2 LSU, 3 Clemson, 4 Georgia, 5 Utah, 6 Oklahoma, 7 Baylor, 8 Wisconsin, 9 Florida, and then 10 was Penn State, and 11 was Auburn.
Yeah, and then 12 Alabama. Okay. I was wondering about those. That
And
8
thank God that they finally let Florida jump Penn State. I mean, because they let Baylor jump 4 spots last week.
Yeah.
For beating a 6-win team, which was kind of ridiculous. I think the same.
I mean, in my rankings, I had Florida at 8. Like I had Wisconsin way down. I don't know why Wisconsin's up at 8. That's
not because they can't pass.
It's horrible. I know
They can't pass.
I think the Big Ten as a whole is just not very good. Aside from Ohio State, it's almost like they're not as bad as the ACC, but like I think their conference as a whole is just not good. Besides that one team, Ohio State, just like Clemson is the one good team in the ACC.
Do you agree with what? Did you see what Feinbaum said about Utah? How nobody in the country wants to see them in the playoff. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think I do as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, looking at their schedule, the best team that played was what, USC.
Yep. They haven't played. They haven't beat a ranked team at all.
Yeah, not now. USC's ranked. That win looks good, but
no, they lost to USC. Like that was their only loss.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Only lost to USC, which is a good loss, I guess. Now, but it doesn't really matter. But I mean, they got a hell of a defense.
Yeah, I mean they.
It's kind of hard to see what they'll do until you put them against the team.
Yeah, I mean when we're talking scenarios and everything, when I look at those 3 1-loss teams, this is all assuming that Georgia loses, Utah, Oklahoma, and Baylor. I think any 3 of those teams are going to get just dominated and against whoever they play.
But I'm gonna write this down so I can just have it off the top of my head.
I mean, from who it's hard to say because Utah, they haven't played anybody, but they have looked the most complete out of those 3 teams because they do have like the defense. Their offense has shown a lot of light. They got the good running back. But I mean, Oklahoma clearly doesn't have a defense. Baylor, I don't think their offense is just not good enough, and they've had too many close games in that Big 12 conference that just makes me I mean, but Oklahoma has 2, but Oklahoma just of course has the head-to-head win, but we'll figure that out this weekend. But I don't know. I think I would like to see Utah in over Oklahoma and Baylor. I think, in my opinion.
You would want to see Utah over them too?
Over them too, yeah. I like to see Georgia over any of them, but
I think everybody would make a case. And I think anybody's stupid to not agree with me on this. If Ohio State or LSU lose this weekend, like, say even they both lose, they're both still in.
Oh,
They've got to be.
Some people are arguing that Clemson will still be in too if they lose, and I'm like, no, that shouldn't happen, but it might just because Davis Swinney's whining so much.
The spread for that fucking game is 28.5.
Mm-hmm.
They lose that, no.
Yeah, especially the teams that Virginia's lost to.
Yeah.
I think they've lost to like Louisville. I mean, just not good teams. Let's just put it that way. ACC.
Well, I guess we're gonna jump into this week's games. We got starting off with the Pac-12 Championship, which is on Friday night at 6 o'clock at Levi Stadium. Utah -6. Oregon is a +6 underdog, which is I'm not surprised. Over under is 47.5.
I got Oregon as the favorite at 6 points.
Huh.
According to ESPN yesterday.
Well, hold on, folks.
But it was like I looked on a different site and it said like it wasn't 6 in Utah's
Yeah,
favor.
Utah's up to 6.5 now, -6.5.
What in the world?
Damn son.
Or
Damn son.
I guess I'm gonna change my pick for that one.
Right, you gonna pick off the spread?
Yeah.
Pick off the facts, son.
Well, I mean, the way this was set up. Wow. Get out of Sharpie.
To sharpen his pencil.
The way it was set up, mine showed that Oregon was the favorite, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick the points towards Utah. But if Utah's the favorite, then I gotta reconsider my pick. So Utah's -6.5.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna change that because it's changed. But all right, well everybody knows Utah's only loss is that USC. I would say Oregon's playing for a potential New Year's Six bowl, so they got a little something to play for. Justin Herbert's got to play well in this game. I think he hurt his draft stock against who the fuck did they lose to? Against Arizona State. I thought his draft stock it kind of hurt it a little bit. Unfortunately for him, because he was top 5 quarterback last year for last year's draft, and he decided to stay. And Utah's defense just needs to keep playing well, like they have been all year. I mean, their defense allows 56 rush yards a game, and they allow a total of 241 yards. That ranks third in the nation in total defense. Herbert, he's got over 3,100 pass yards on the year, and that I think he needs to let that thing fly. Personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Oregon's offense ranks 27th in the nation. Not that that means much, but they're playing against a good Utah defense.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you look at it.
You gonna say your pick?
Not yet.
Okay. I didn't really.
Psych! I'm taking Utah -6.5.
Okay. So yeah, I had all that too. I was basically Utah ranks higher than Oregon in defensive scoring, pass yards allowed, rush yards allowed, like their time on the field, number of plays and yards per play allowed. Their defense is definitely better. They pretty much played the same opponents all season, so like there's no reason that one way or the other that one looks better than the other. I don't think they've played great teams, so that number could be kind of skewed compared to the rest of the country. But I definitely think that Utah's defense is better than Oregon's. Oregon has struggled at times. Utah's been pretty lights out since they lost to USC. But I mean, Oregon, they're not gonna get blown out. I don't think. I think, Utah they gotta try and send a message. That's how they get their ticket in for the playoff. But I don't think that they do it because just this Oregon team. If they don't win, they'll keep it close. They'll keep within reach. It's all up to Justin Herbert. He's been struggling this season, so I don't think Oregon's gonna win this game. I think Utah wins it, but my pick is going to be that Oregon covers the 6.5 points. But I do think that I do think that Utah will win. But
that's a shitty pick.
Okay, we'll see.
That's a shitty pick.
We'll see.
That is a shitty fucking pick. I agree.
There's another one, Billy.
Billy Bob's only had like 3 beers. It's all good. But this Big 12 championship is Saturday at 11 a.m.
Oh, also,
World.
1 second. Also, the Utah Oregon game, there's a 100% chance of rain as of yesterday. Don't know how that is now. I mean, Mother Nature's Mother Nature. With 18-mile-per-hour winds. So I also think the under is going to hit. Over-under is like 47.5. I think that the under will hit in that also.
Yeah, what a shitty championship game if that's the case. Big 12 championship playing at Jerry World Saturday at 11 a.m. early one. If I'm an Oklahoma fan, I don't even want to watch football if every game's early.
Yeah.
They've had just about every game other than
I think their last late game was against Baylor, actually. At Baylor.
I think they had one last Saturday.
Against Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
Or maybe at 2:30. But either way,
still.
Yeah.
I mean, every game, especially the Texas-Oklahoma game. Who wants to play that game every year at 11?
Oh, no.
I'd be pissed.
Just like Ohio State and Michigan. Like, I was like, why is this game starting at 11?
It's a tricky game.
Yeah.
This game, in general, is tricky. Baylor just blew a 25-point lead to them 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then you got to come in there and play them again. Oklahoma's a -9. The over-under's of 63.5, which is it's going to be in Jerry World, so you ain't got to worry about weather. They lost to Oklahoma on a last-second field goal after blowing that 25-point lead. I always got this thing I like to say, it's always hard to beat the same team twice.
Yep.
It really is.
Yep.
Do I think Baylor proved that they could hang with them and honestly dominate them? I'm having a hard time making this pick, really. But Jalen Hurts can't turn the ball over. You know, he's been prone to do. But I think CeeDee Lamb is the difference maker in this game. Only because he can make something out of nothing. And Jalen Hurts knows what happened last time. And coming from his background, him being at Alabama, I'm rolling with the Sooners, but I'm taking it outright. I'm not fooling with the points with these cats because after last time, that's one I'd stay away from. But I'm rolling with the Sooners because I know Jalen Hurts, he's going to tell his boys to be ready.
Yep. Yeah, we're kind of thinking along the same lines. My pick is also Oklahoma outright because, like you said, you can't trust to ever take Oklahoma on the points. I honestly was surprised that they beat Oklahoma State the way they did last week. But my theory holds true that they like to have these close games against good defenses. But when it's another team doesn't have a great defense, they'll cover the spread.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a struggle. They're both obviously trying to play for this playoff spot. Baylor's trying to get their revenge. Oklahoma, in my opinion, is clearly the better team. Like you said, CeeDee Lamb's back. He's going to be a big impact. I think Jalen Hurts has experience in these type of games too. Just the big games, playing for the big spot, and just that situation. My overall just thought process or my decision making thought was I picked the team that has, in my opinion, the better head coach and the better experienced quarterback. I think that he's going to limit those turnovers. He may have some turnovers, but I don't think it's going to be anything like it was last time. They also played at Baylor last time.
Right.
So, it's at a neutral field this time at Jerry World. So, I think they'll limit those, and I think that they could cover. But I'm definitely not comfortable picking that because who knows, especially with that defense. Baylor could, shoot up there at the end and make it close, but I will pick Oklahoma outright, too.
I wouldn't be surprised if CeeDee Lamb has 200 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just because of the way he is. All right. My next one is the big one, the big one that matters. Number 2 versus number 4. SC Championship in Atlanta at 3 p.m. Central Time. LSU's -7.5. Over/under is 54.5. I think that is pretty reasonable, especially spread-wise for LSU, just because Georgia's defense is so damn good. From he's gonna have to fucking show up. Bottom line, he's gonna have to do better than he's done all year, really in his career, because he's gonna have to go toe to toe with this offense of Joe Burrow. You know, hell of a turnaround for LSU compared to last year as far as the offense goes. LSU is going up against the 4th-ranked defense in the nation. That's going to play a factor. 2nd-ranked offense in the country. LSU's got. Can't knock that. They average 390 passing yards a game. I got a little bit more. I'm going to let you take over. Also, they'll be without George Pickens for the first half. Georgia will. That's going to be costly because he can't control his temper and wants to punch somebody without a helmet.
No, they had helmets on.
Or with the helmet on, my bad. That's what I meant.
Either
With
way,
the helmet,
stupid.
either way,
Stupid
retarded
either
because
way.
you're playing Georgia Tech. Who
Yeah.
is
And
even
you
going
know
to-
who you got coming up the next week.
And they're not even going to a bowl game, so I don't know why he's going to fight with the Georgia Tech guy.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Yeah, I mean, LSU's offense just has so many weapons. Like, everyone overlooked Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and until I guess it was, did they play Auburn or Florida first?
Florida.
It was one of those big games, and he had a big game, and like everybody said, "Oh, who's this guy?" Like, no, he's a great player, a great running back.
Yeah. What they did, they spread them out, the defense out, and then it just opens it up.
It's like the opposite of the traditional offense.
Yeah.
Like you want to run, open up, pass. No, Joe Burrow just hits these windows all day long, and then once I guess the offensive line or that he just gets tired of throwing the ball, they decide to just run it and let him get some play. But the opening odds had LSU at like 3.5 point favorite, and I would have went all day LSU on that, but it obviously jumped to 7.5 as of like yesterday. Yeah, we're gonna be without. Georgia's gonna be without George Pickens for the first half, but they're also gonna be without Lawrence Cager, who's been the go-to guy the whole season. I mean, he missed last week, and he's obviously gonna miss this week too. They said he could be back if we potentially made the playoffs, but I mean, we got to be able to beat this LSU team to do that. Yeah, our defenses look great, but we really only played one true starting quarterback, and that's Kellen Mond, aside from Bo Nix and Ian Book. But I think Kellen Mond's better. Ian Book played better against us, I think. But I don't know. Like we do have a great defense, but the way that just Joe Burrow is just so talented. Like I literally, when I watch him play, I'm just like, how is he hitting these windows? How is he hitting that? And it's not that like he's playing bad defenses or anything. Like no, like, he's playing pretty good defenses, Auburn and Florida, like, and he's just able to hit those spots, and it's like something we haven't seen it in years. I don't know who the last guy that came out that was a true pocket passer like that just was able to just hit those dimes, like. But
he just got a lot better. He put a lot of work in the offseason, especially with him and Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. They also have a great offensive line too, man. They protect that guy like that's family.
You got the points. Georgia hasn't really done shit on offense to make me believe that they can not lose by more than 7.5, honestly, on offense. So I'm going to take LSU to cover this. But if you're an LSU fan, if you lose this game, you're still in the playoff, depending upon how bad you lose. Now, if you go get beat by 50 or 30 at least, probably not getting in the playoff. But if you lose by a touchdown, field goal, I would even give it 2 touchdowns depending on how the game is. You've beaten too many. They have 4 wins against top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really have a better resume than them.
Yeah, I still had them at my number 1 team in my rankings because I was just like they just played better teams.
Yeah.
Like,
And they played well against them.
Yeah. So. Well,
I'm taking LSU on this one.
Yeah.
To cover.
So I just got LSU outright. One thing that that I've noticed is Kirby is great at game planning for like these types of games. People say that he like loses the big games, whatever they want to say. Well, it does. Well, like because they talk about Alabama national championship, Alabama SEC championship last year, but the thing is we were huge underdogs in both of those games. We were like 14-point underdogs in those games, and we were winning by 14 points at one point. And like both of those starting quarterbacks at the time, he had their number. Like his game plan for those games, just those quarterbacks could do nothing until the backups came in, and obviously it was a whole different ball game. I don't know. Like I'm not comfortable with picking LSU at 7.5 because I think the defense should be able to hold strong. At least I'm hoping. But I think Kirby is going to be able to game plan well enough to at least just be able to hold Joe Burrow enough to be within reach. Although I don't think we're going to win because our offense is just not capable of scoring, especially the way LSU's defense looked last week against Texas A&M. They looked like a top 5 defense last week against Texas A&M.
Yeah, they have the potential to play good defense, but they also have the potential to give them a shit ton of points.
Yeah.
So you really don't ever know. But that's all I got on that game.
Really, I think it's like the typical thing is like I think it's going to be whoever wins the battle at the line of scrimmage. I mean, if Georgia controls the ball running the football, and we're able to get a few points off that and keep Joe Burrow off the field, we could win. We could cover. And then the other side of that is also, I mean, if LSU controls the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a blowout by like 20, 30 points.
It's really, can they stop the pass game is what I'm thinking. If they can't stop the pass game, then it's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you look at that. Just because they can score on one play.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so yeah, I got LSU outright is my pick for that one.
ACC championship game, not really much to talk about. I think they put Virginia in the top 25 just cause. Well, it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, 6:30. I think there's a reason why Clemson is a minus 28.5. Basically, it's not going to be a fucking game. I mean, Virginia's what? 9-3, 8-3, something like that.
No.
They're ranked like 23rd now.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats, it was fun while it lasted. Unless they come in and upset them, I don't think Clemson. Yeah, they're the defending national champions, but they haven't really done anything to make you think they deserve to be in the fucking playoff.
I think the best team they play is Texas A&M, who's has 5 losses now.
They did the same record they had last year, I'm pretty sure. Looked good early and then whatever.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. I've got Clemson covering that easy.
Yep. I also have Clemson covering it easy. I was looking at Virginia's losses. Their 3 losses came on the road. And in those games, they averaged 23.6 points per game on the road versus 39 points per game at home. So when I see that and see they're playing on a neutral field, so Virginia won't be at home. I see Clemson's defense. I see Virginia, an ACC school that's not Clemson, which means they're trash. So I think this is going to be an obvious lopsided victory for Clemson. Also, Dabo Swinney's whining to the media. He's going to be whining to his team to, hey, let's blow these teams out. Clemson, I think, will win by close to 40. Like they're gonna blow out Virginia. Virginia's not that good. So yeah, Clemson's gonna cover 28 points, and hopefully, whenever the selection comes out Sunday, that Dabo Swinney will at least be happy that he's there instead of, whining because he's not getting respect or whatever. Like, dude, you're in the playoff. Be happy about it. Like, You got an easy road, so what? You're in it.
You picked them some bitches won by 40?
Well, I'm saying I think that they are going to win by close to 40, but yeah, I'm picking their spread by 28 points.
That's understandable. All right, real quick. Big Ten Championship, 7 o'clock in Indianapolis. Pretty clear on who's going to win that one. Ohio State's minus 16.5. Over under for that game is 56.5, and I believe Ohio State will probably score 40 of them at least. Well, I got Ohio State big. You see what happened last time? They hung around. I think Ohio State is just too talented, and Wisconsin can't throw the ball. They cannot throw the ball well enough to beat them. We've seen it time and time again.
You say spread or outright for Ohio State?
Spread for sure.
Yeah.
Ohio State minus 16.5, and all the reason all these a lot
You know,
of
it
these
actually went down
commentators-
last night too. Because mine was at 16.5, and I checked it one more time before I got done, and it went down to 16. And I'm like, are people really like picking in Wisconsin's favor?
all because they beat overhyped Minnesota team.
Yeah. Yep.
Minnesota was good, but they're not. They're not that great.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have Ohio State at 16 points. 16 points was generous. If I was Vegas, I'd put this line at, I don't know, 23 minimum.
Yeah, what was it, 38-7 last time they played?
Yeah, they won by
I'm
31
not
points.
saying that last time matters, but like I said, they're known for running the fucking football,
Yeah.
and they ain't gonna run it against Chase Young.
I was about to say, you got Chase Young, like, I think he pretty much dismantled.
No, actually he did it. They actually shut Chase Young down quite. Michigan did really well.
No, I'm talking about when they played Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He had, I think I wrote it down. He had 4 sacks in that game. So I think it's gonna repeat.
Yeah, you didn't hear shit from Chase Young in that damn Michigan game. I was actually surprised.
Yeah.
They did really well rolling blocks to his direction and shit like that. But all right, American Athletic Championship, Cincinnati and Memphis playing again for the second week in a row. Not very often that happens. Memphis is -9, over unders 58.
Yeah, it's at Memphis again too.
Yeah, what a joke. What a joke.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the over on 58 on this one because Memphis kind of struggled a little bit there against Cincinnati. But
Yeah, they had I think their very first kickoff was a kickoff return for a touchdown for Memphis, and they also had like a flea flicker touchdown or something. It seems like almost Cincinnati had like the dominance in that game, except for those big explosive plays. And Cincinnati also used their redshirt freshman quarterback Ben Bryant, I think is his name, and he did pretty well. He was 20 for 32 with 229 yards, a touchdown, and only 2 interceptions. And they're likely to have their other quarterback back in this game, but
only 2 interceptions.
yeah. But they were within 10 points. So
Yeah.
you factor in that turnover margin. That's big. Also, Memphis lost their corner, T.J. Carter. I don't know. So when I look at this, like we were saying earlier, it's hard to beat a team twice. And we're not talking about an Oklahoma team. We're talking about an AAC conference teams. I picked Cincinnati. But what did you say the line was? My line was 9.5.
Nah, mine was 9 last night.
Mine's 9.5. So I got Cincinnati cover 9.5 points. I think that just playing the team twice, even if they don't win, they'll keep it closer than what they did at least.
Actually shocked by that pick. Alright, then I picked the Mountain West Championship. That's at 3 o'clock in Boise, Idaho. Hawaii at Boise State, -14. Over under 65, which is probably could very well go over 65, but it's a home game for Boise State. I'm going to take Boise State -14.
me too. I mean, I don't know much about either one of these teams. I know. I'm pretty sure Hawaii's getting better because like they went on like a really bad streak for a while, but they got a new coach or something, and they're on the come up sort of. But I mean, they played earlier this season, and Boise State won by 22 points. And I mean, they're playing back at home again for Mountain West Championship. So yeah, I'm going Boise State. I got them at 13.5, but I got them covered either way. And I also think it's going to go over too, but my pick is Boise State 13.5.
Into NFL Week 14.
You didn't even go over the Sun Belt and Conference USA.
Fuck no.
Oh.
Fucking.
Well, I'll go ahead and just rattle off mine. Sun Belt, you got Louisiana Lafayette playing App State. App State's 6.5 point favorite. The over-under is 56.5. My pick is App State outright. Earlier this season, App State beat Louisiana Lafayette 17-7. But they've also, I mean, both teams have really surged since that time. They're both playing great football.
Appalachian State's ranked 21st in the playoff rankings.
Yeah, I mean
they're gonna go win it all. Sorry.
But I mean, they did lose to a Georgia Southern team. That's what scares me. Is like these Sun Belt teams, they're kind of hit or miss too, and like they'll play really good against great teams, and then some team that they're supposed to just demolish, they'll end up losing to or not play that great against. But I still got App State winning this. It's at App State, so I got them winning outright. I guess you don't have a pick for that.
W outright. Nah, I'm not. I didn't really pick them because who gives a fuck, really?
I just kind of quick picked over all the.
Unless it's Southern Miss, I ain't picking.
And also, yeah, speaking of Conference USA, you got UAB against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's a 7.5 point favorite. Over under for that game is 49 points.
Dude, that would be a big win for UAB after getting this program shut down a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice win.
But I got FAU winning that. I'm not going to say they're going to cover because UAB does have, I mean, they've played pretty well defensively. But UAB's 3 losses did come on the road. This game's going to be at Florida Atlantic. So I think Florida Atlantic wins this game. That's it. Now we can move on.